All right, it is 2 o'clock, so we will get started. Welcome to Biochem 1. I'm Dr. Casey Andrews. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over the syllabus, and we're also going to go over how to use the Blackboard site. But before we do that, I'm just going to go over the Zoom room and like how it's set up. And so currently the way this is set up is that I'm going to leave everybody on mute just to control things. If you have questions, feel free to use the chat box anytime that you want. If you don't want people to know that you wrote a question, I know it can be embarrassing to write questions, you can send me a private message through the chat box. And if the question is pertinent to everybody, I'll read it out loud, but I won't say that you sent it. So you can remain anonymous. So during these meetings, feel free to send me a chat at any time. And also, these meetings are not mandatory, right? All of these will be posted online on YouTube, and then the YouTube links will be posted on Blackboard. So you don't have to come to the live session if you don't want to. You can always watch the lecture recording at your own time, but if you're more comfortable in a live setting, you want to ask me questions in real time, that's what this is for. All right, so without further ado, let's go over the syllabus really quick. There we go. All right, and let me get my pen out. There we go. So like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 to 2:50 is when I'll hold sessions for this class, not mandatory. If you have questions that you want to ask me at any time, feel free to use my email, candrews@tamusa.edu or casey.andrews@tamusa.edu. Not sure why they give us two emails, but they go to the same place. I do have office hours here. However, feel free to contact me and set up a meeting pretty much any time that's convenient for you. The only times I'm busy with classes this semester are 2 to 3 right now, obviously, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 11, and then Thursday, 12:30 to 1:45. Otherwise, I am free to meet with you on a meeting anytime that you want. So just if you want to meet via Zoom, just send me a time and date that works for you, or you can just always send me questions anytime you want. All right, so the textbook we're going to be using is Fundamentals of Biochemistry by Vogt, and Pratt. And I'll show you how to access that when we get to the Blackboard site, along with Wileyplus. I'll show you how to access Wileyplus. It's in the same location. Calculators, you will need a calculator for this class. You will need something that can do logs and natural logs. If you had a calculator for Gen Chem, it should work for Biochem as well. You don't need a fancy graphing calculator. We're not going to do any graphs. We're not going to do any calculus, just basic algebra. So anything that allows you to do basic algebra will be fine. So this class is a general overview of biochemistry. So we're going to look at the building blocks of life. So we're going to look at proteins, sugars, nucleic acids, and lipids. Just very basic. We're going to cover a lot of different topics in this class and not go too in depth on any one, with the exception of maybe enzymes. And so some of the topics we will go over are listed here. So I'm not going to read them out to you, as you can read those on your own time, as long as the learning objectives. They're all there for you to look at your own time. Communication, as I just said, email is going to be the way to contact me. So contact and behavior. So although we are meeting virtually, imagine that this was like a real class setting. So be respectful. When using the chat function, don't spam the chat or anything offensive in there, or I'll mute you from the chat. And if things get really bad, I do have the power to kick you from the Zoom meeting. However, that's never come up, and I don't expect it to come up either. So hopefully that won't be a problem for us. So the grades, we're going to have 4 exams in this class. Each one will be 17%, and I will drop your lowest scoring exam. So you get 1 exam that can be dropped, and it will be the lowest scoring one. Final exam, 22%. The final exam is cumulative. So anything we learn from the class has the potential to be on the final exam. The exams themselves aren't cumulative, but information we have learned previously might appear on a future exam. For example, we learn about amino acid structures, names, and we have a test over that. Well, once we go over and memorize the amino acids, I assume you know the amino acids. So moving forward, I'm going to have questions that might relate to structures of amino acids in different ways. For example, when we use enzymes, I might talk, a question might be, why is this amino acid in an enzyme? And to really answer that, you need to know what the amino acid looks like. But in generally, the tests are separate from each other than that overlapping information. Homework. So homework will be 5% of your grade. And the way homework is going to work, it's going to be online, obviously. And every time we have a lecture, I will create a homework assignment for that lecture. This homework assignment will be due 1 week from when I assign it. So for an example, when we have a lecture on the 22nd on Friday, I will make a homework assignment. That homework is due next week, Friday, on the 29th. Since you have a week to complete homework assignments and each individual assignment has a week, I will most likely not give you extra time to work on it. So let's say that you're planning on doing the homework that's due on the 29th on the night of the 28th. Like you set aside 10 p.m. Thursday night to do it. Then something happens, and Thursday night an emergency happens and you can't do it. And then you email me and say, Dr. Andrews, an emergency happened on the night of the 28th when I was going to do my homework, and I wasn't able to do it. Can I get an extension? And my response will probably be no, because you had 6 other days to do it. So I'm giving you that week, but I'm not giving you more than a week to do that homework. In this pre-class work, so we'll go over this a little bit when we go to the Blackboard site. But for every lecture that's not an exam period, I will have videos posted on Blackboard. With those videos, I want you to fill out a reading guide and turn it in. So you're going to have a reading guide due every time we have a lecture. And there will be a turn it in location for those reading guides. Now, for the reading guides, I'm not looking for correctness. I'm looking for completeness. What I mean by that is when I grade these reading guides, I'm just going to see you answered all the questions and you actually gave like effort. You tried. Like if you just put smiley faces, or if you went to a website and just copied and pasted something, then that's not effort. And so you won't get a good grade on that reading guide. But if you gave thoughtful responses, and even though your answer might not be 100% right, you'll still get full credit. That being said, if you want to know if your specific answer is right on any reading guide, just let me know, and I can just look at it for correctness there without penalizing you. And that reminds me, I didn't mention it, but for the exams, the way the exams will work is that on the date we have an exam, the exam will be open for 24 hours. So let's say that we had an exam on February 9th, for example. What will happen is that on 12 a.m. February 9th, an exam link will appear under course content in Blackboard. This link will be available to you until 11:59 p.m. on February 9th. So you'll have 24 hours to start the exam, right? So make sure you do it at that point. Grades here at Texas A&M San Antonio, I guess we don't believe in pluses or minuses. So the grades are just A, B, C, D, E, and straight percentages as shown. And that's all I'll say about it right now. Any questions so far about the syllabus or anything I went over? Are the exams time? Yep, you will have an hour to do them. And they will most likely be using ProctorU. So you'll be watched and recorded, but I will talk more about that when it's closer to exam time. For the structure exam will be open-ended multiple choice, very few multiple choice, many more short answers. I do not like multiple choice because I don't know why you got the correct answer. I like short answer because I get to see your thought process. So the lowest exam will be dropped. That is correct. You can bomb once. If you bomb more than once, it's going to hurt your grade. How many questions each test? I don't know. I haven't made the test yet. Enough questions that it will take me roughly 8 minutes to finish the exam. So it'll take on average like 40, 45 minutes for you to finish the exam. That's what I'll say. In my in-person classes where the exams were only 50 minutes, at least 75% of the people were done like with 10 minutes to spare. So if you know your stuff, you should have no problem doing it. Hopefully. When I was doing it in the fall, looking at the times, hardly anybody took the full hour. And those who did take the full hour usually didn't score so well. So it's usually, the people hoping some divine inspiration will hit them while looking at a question who took the full time. People who knew their stuff, they were done half an hour. Am I available via Zoom? Yes. On office hours, I'm not going to be sitting in a Zoom window, so you need to email me. But you can email me at like any time and set up a meeting. Those office hours are just there because I need office hours, but I am available way outside those hours. As long as it's not Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 11 or 2 to 3 or Tuesday, Thursday, 12:30 to 1:45, I am open outside any of those times. You do need to email me. If you come into this room during those times, nobody will be here. All right. One other thing for the reading guide slash pre-class work. If you want to do those typed out, that's fine. If you want to print them out, write on them, then upload them, that's fine. I don't care how you do them as long as I get them. Exam schedule shown here. This is what I'm envisioning the exams to be: the 19th of February, 12th of March, 7th of April, 30th of April. I do have the right to change those dates. If I do, I will give you at least a week's notice. I've never had to change the dates for the exams though, so I don't see me doing that this semester either. Final exams, I don't know when it will be. They haven't released the calendar yet, so I'll let you know when I know. So some important boilerplate stuff. If you require extra time on an exam due to disabilities, I cannot grant that. I have no power over that. You have to contact DSS, Disability Support Services. Phone number and email are on the syllabus. Academic Learning Center is a tutoring center. I will probably be the person you will want to go for tutoring though. Since I've taught this class quite a lot now, I have a pretty good handle on the information, and I did get an advanced degree in it, so that helps too. Counseling, as a college student, you do have free counseling services, so feel free to contact them. If it's an emergency, they also have a 24-hour hotline that you can contact. JAGI is the university's alert mass notification system, so feel free to download that. Financial aid. So after a week of classes, I have to report if people are attending my class or not. With online, that's a little bit difficult. So the way I'm going to judge if you are in my class is by turning in those reading guides and doing your homework in the first week. So if you don't do any of the reading guides, you don't turn them in, I don't know if you're here or not. And so I have to report to the university, you're not showing up. If you do turn it in, then I can report to the university, you're showing up. Are you going to be teaching this class in the summer? I do not know. We have not talked about this as a department yet. Do we get homework after every single lecture? You sure do, as long as it's not a test. Writing Center, we're not going to do any writing in this class, but the Writing Center is still a great resource. Military Affairs, feel free to contact the Office of Military Affairs if you're a veteran or active duty military. Religious observations, if you need to miss something due to a religious observation, let me know, and that should be no problem. Speaking of which, for tests, I forgot to mention this. I'll allow you to take your test early, but since the dates are already known, I generally almost never allow you to take the test late. So if you know you're going to be gone that day, not available on your computer, you need to let me know, and I can make the test early for you. Don't let me know the day of the test, like, hey, I'm going to be gone on this trip, so can I take the test later? My reaction is going to be, well, that's going to be your drop test because you didn't tell me. And we could have had you take it earlier. So just make sure of that. So diversity, respect for diversity. Again, this goes to being a good classroom citizen. Make sure that you are respectful of others and others' opinions. 6 drop rule, you get 6 drops. Before it starts to harm you. Sexual harassment, discrimination. I am what's called a mandatory reporter. So if I hear anything about sexual harassment or discrimination, I have to report it. No matter what, it's going up the chain of command, or I get sued and put in jail. I don't want that to happen. So if I hear wind of anything like that happening, I have to tell the people in charge. Your rights and responsibilities. I'm not going to read through all these. They're here on the syllabus if you'd like to know more. So the exams will be available at class time. No, the exam is available at 24 hours on that date. So you don't have to be here during this class time if you have another class who's forcing you to be there. These are all recorded. It is not mandatory for you to be in this session. COVID-19 syllabus edition. Since we are in a pandemic, and the pandemic's only getting worse with the new super COVID out there that's way more transmittable, and it's already showing that it's infecting people who already had COVID at very high rates, it's very important that we remain diligent in our precautions about COVID. Now, we won't be meeting here for this class on campus, but if you do have to go to campus, make sure you have a face mask. Make sure you are trying to stay away from other people as much as possible. If you're feeling sick, do not come to campus. And be aware, you do not have to feel sick to have COVID and spread it to people. That's one of the very dangerous things about this virus is that you can be asymptomatic and just spread it like wildfire. Even with the vaccines out, it'll probably be not until fall where we have enough people vaccinated where we can, not have these precautions. And what maybe on the news you've heard as herd immunity. Fauci said, yeah, we might have 70% of the people vaccinated this fall. So we still have the spring and summer to deal with this. So again, remain smart. Don't have a face mask on and social distancing, all that good stuff. Key dates. First day of class was yesterday. March 26th is the last day to drop the W. The 30th is the last day to drop the class. Please, after the 26th, if you want to drop, don't beg me for a W. That deadline is March 26th. May 3rd and 4th are reading days, so nothing's scheduled for those days, so you can study for the final exam. And again, I'll let you know the final exam when I know. All right, that is the syllabus. Before we move on to the Blackboard site, are there any questions about anything on the syllabus? All right, so if you do have questions, continue to type them out, and I will move on to Blackboard right now. No, so I may have missed it, but will the lowest drop be replaced with the highest exam grade or the final grade? Nope, it'll just be dropped. There will be no replacements going on. All right, so here is our Blackboard site as my dogs go wild in the background. So this is going to be what you want to use for our classroom. So I went into course content, and in course content, you can see labeled folders with different dates. These dates are going to have the information. One sec, I'm sorry. My dogs are going nuts and I cannot focus. So give me one. All right, that's way better. So in these folders, you can see dates. This is going to have the information that we're going to go over on that day. So let's go over to January 22nd. In here, you can see different videos. These videos are going to be more or less pre-recorded lectures of the material we're going to go over in class. The PowerPoints are shown here if you want to take notes while watching these videos. While watching these videos, here's the pre-class guide or reading guide I was talking about. It's in the same folder. So when you're watching these videos, you want to download this and fill it out. And once you're finished, there's a Turnitin link that you can turn in your reading guide to. Now, when you turn in your reading guide, you should get an email from Turnitin saying, hey, you turned something in to Turnitin. This is your receipt. If you don't get that, then it probably did not go through. So do not be surprised when I put a 0 for your grade on that reading guide. If you think you turned it in and you don't think it went through, please contact me before the reading guide's due, and I can see that easily enough, and I'll tell you, yeah, it went through, or no, it didn't. So that's what's going to be due every time we have a class period. Do we fill out the reading guides based on the videos before class every time? Yep. Every day before class. These are due at 2 o'clock. So Friday, January 2nd, 22nd reading guides due at 2 o'clock, Friday, January 22nd. Yep. As long as it's not an exam day, you have no reading guide due. So the question might be, if we're watching lectures, what are we going to do during this time? So the stuff we're going to go over in class is going to be in these folders called In Class Test 1. I'll have different folders for different tests. So we'll have a Test 1 folder, Test 2 folder, Test 3 folder, Test 4 folder, right? And in here, if you go on the In Class Test 1, you can see I already have a follow-up, Jan 22nd lecture. So what this will be is a kind of condensed version of what the videos went over. I will hit on the most important things, and we will have in-class problems that we'll do together during this class time. So my logic for this is the way to learn is repetition. So you see it the first time watching a video or reading your book, right? So that's the first connections you're making in your head. First time you make a connection, new information, it's very weak. Those neurons probably won't stay. But then you come to the lecture or you watch the lecture on YouTube, you're going to strengthen those connections because you're hearing the information again. Then I'll assign a homework that goes over that lecture. You're getting the information a third time through your homework, again, strengthening those neurons. So by setting up the class like this, I'm forcing you to study over a time period, right? Because in this class, we're going to have a lot of information that's going to be given to you in a very short amount of time. If you try and cram all that information before the final exam or before each exam rather, you probably will not do well. So you need to spread this studying out. Rule of thumb for a class this difficult is that for every credit hour, you should be spending 2 to 3 hours a week on your own studying. This is a 3-hour class, so you should be studying 6 to 9 hours a week on your own. And I'm trying to help you guide your studying by videos in these reading guides and by homework as well. Again, the most important skill you can learn from college is not necessarily the information, it's how to train your brain, how to study, how to take in new information and learn it. That's the most important thing you can get from college. Right, so that's the in-class folder. That's the dated folder. You'll notice some other folders. Test Fall 2019. These are the tests I've given in the fall of 2019 before the pandemic. So that's why I only have fall of 2019 hard copies here. And here's the answer key for these tests. A good way to test yourself before the real test is to take my old tests. Definitely start with the blank ones and then go with the answer key. You'll also see another folder here called In-Class Test 1 with answers. So the questions we go over in class, I will post the answer key and I'll put them in this folder as well. As for the lectures themselves that we go over, I will put the recordings in the dated folder. So if you can't make it to Friday's lecture, the lecture recording link will be in this folder. And that's course content. Before we move on to Wileyplus, is there any questions about what is expected from you or what you can find in the course content folder of Blackboard? All right, well, if you are typing on a question, feel free to continue. Otherwise, I'll show you where to get our homework and our ebook. To find those, you want to go to Tools on the left-hand side here of Blackboard. then you want to go to Wileyplus. Now, previous semesters, Wileyplus was included as part of your tuition, where they took it straight out. I believe due to some error on Wileyplus's side, you still have access to the ebook and all the assignments right now. I don't know why that is. And I'm pretty sure Wiley's going to shut that down sooner or later. But for right now, you should have access to this already free of charge. So let's take a look at what you have. So we have Wileyplus Assignments. This is going to be where you can find your homework. So every time after lecture, I will put a new assignment here. It will not show up in your Blackboard to-do list. It's its own separate program, so you have to go to Wileyplus. Read, study, and practice. That's where your ebook will be found. So if you want to read the information or you want to do more practice problems, that's where this is found. And really, these are the two links that you care about the most. The grade book will show you what you get on your assignments, but I use the Blackboard grade book as the final decider. So any questions about the Wiley part of our Blackboard site? You were charged $10. Huh, should have not been charged anything. I do not know why you were charged an anonymous $10. How long the assignments? I guess that depends on the person doing it. 5 to 6 questions, maybe. They shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes, hopefully. My goal here is not to make you spend like 3 hours on homework. It'll be hilarious, but you'd probably give me bad reviews, so don't want that to happen. All right, the last part of Blackboard that we have to go to. Sorry if you answered this already. There's homework and a reading guide for each lecture. Yes, so in the course content, you'll find the reading guides that's due before each lecture. After we do a lecture, I will assign a homework and you will have 1 week to do it. So one due before class, one due after class. All right, the last thing you really care about on Blackboard is the Grade Center. I'll show you how to read this. It's super simple. But the only thing that you really need to care about in the Grade Center is this grade in class. That's going to be your score in real time out of 100. All of these assignments already on there are reading guides. They are going to be left blank. I am not going to put anything in there because I actually don't use their grading field. I set Blackboard, like I customized it, so I don't use these at all. For your reading guides, I will create new columns for that. So in about 2 months' time from now, if you have like a not great grade, please don't email me and saying it's because I've never filled these in for you. There is nothing to be filled in. Every time you do a reading guide and I grade it, I create a new column. But this grading class is your real-time grade. And that should be it for Blackboard. The announcements, I will be making announcements there. Your tests will be found under course content, and I'll put them at the top. But yeah, I think that's it. Are there any questions about the syllabus, about Blackboard, about anything to do with this class? All right then. So that's all I have for you today, if there are no questions. If you have questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Looks like we do. When's the last day of class? April 30th, I think. So I should have folders for just about every single day if you want. If you want to do the whole semester and like this weekend, go for it. If you want to do all the reading guides and get it done, that's why they're here. Do we need to register for Wileyplus? I think you do need to register for Wileyplus. If you click on tools and then Wileyplus, if it takes you right to the assignments, you're good to go. But don't go through Wileyplus's website. Go through tools and Wileyplus. See if you can access it through there. It might already be set up so that anyone on my Blackboard's already on Wileyplus. I'm not 100% know how that works because we changed systems. This is the first time we're using this. We're not using the ebook program, so you have to buy it yourself. So make sure you go to tools/Wileyplus and see if you have access. How many chances do we have to take homework, retake homework assignments? Once it's graded, none. I think for each individual question, I give like 2 to 3 chances, but once it's submitted, it's submitted. Do you have a date for the final exam? No, that's set by university, and university's so slow on that. It's ridiculous. So we'll know probably in April once they get everything together. I don't see any assignments posted. Yep, I am not assigned any homework. You have reading guides due in the reading guides folder though. So if you go to the folders, you'll see assignments. If you go to homework, there are none because we haven't had a lecture yet. Anything else? All right, so just in closing, I just want to stress that even though we are separated by a computer, don't ever feel like alone when studying this, right? You are right now in a community trying to learn biochemistry. Biochemistry can be quite difficult. There's a lot of stuff to memorize. Don't be shocked when I ask you to memorize 50 things for a test. It's just the nature of the beast. Always feel free to reach out to me for any questions, help, anything I can do. Our course is not posted on Wileyplus. Are you going through tools Wileyplus? Because if you tried to go on Wileyplus's website, it does not work. Oh, okay. I see. Should be posted now. Let me just see. Sure, do that. Set policies. Okay, let's do, sorry, I'm just making sure this is all set up. Organize assignment, assign. Yep, there we are. Should be 601, biochemistry 1. So we should be good to go. Yeah, you have to just make sure you're going through Blackboard. Yeah, I think I was just going through my speech of make sure you email me if you have questions, concerns, anything. I will try to respond as soon as possible. If you email me at night, usually don't expect a response in the morning. If you email me on the weekends, it's going to take me some hours before I look at my email. If I don't respond within 24 hours, shoot me another email. That's no problem. Otherwise, I look forward to this semester. Hope everybody is as well. Is there a place on Blackboard where we are able to see who's registered for the class? I'd like to make a group chat so we can help each other with studying comprehensive. There's something on Blackboard called discussion boards. So if you want to post messages on there, that's fine. I don't use that, but feel free to do that. Are we going to go over chemical mechanisms? That's more organic chemistry, but yes, we have some of them. Not a lot. Biochem 2 is where we go over a bunch of those. Biochem 1, we have maybe like 3 or 4. Now, the things you're not going to like are amino acids when we get deep into understanding amino acids and some math. Mechanisms, more organic chem. All right, last call for questions. All right, if there are no, maybe there is one. Are we getting tests over which amino? You're getting, okay, I'll jump the gun. For the amino acids, you need to know the full name of the amino acids. You need to know the 3-letter name of the amino acids. You need to know the 1-letter name of the amino acids. You need to know the structure of every single amino acids. You need to know the charges of every single amino acids from pHs 1 through 14, which sounds like a lot. It's really not that much, but we'll get there when we get there. That's not for like another month. It is fun. And we're going to learn about why vitamin C is one of the greatest hoaxes in the world. P.S. Vitamin C really does not help you prevent getting sick. Don't buy it at the airport. It's a scam, I tell you. Get started on it now if you'd like. All right. So with that, I think I'm going to end this meeting. And like I said, if you have questions, feel free to email me. Otherwise, take care, everybody.